Is the DFS strategy show. It is Saturday morning, January 25th. And I say morning, Adam, because we finally get a more gentlemanly hour of doing the DFS strategy show. None of this 9:30 stuff anymore. Let's go to 11. Apparently, I like to sleep in a little bit. I slept in. I went to bed about 11 last night. Didn't make it past the first quarter of the late game, and got 9.5 hours of sleep. It was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I think I woke up like 5 times between like 8:30 and 9:30, like thinking I was running late and needed to do a show.
Oh, all right. Well, let's let a few people join in here. We'll get this fun stuff set up on the old back end here. Oh, it doesn't have a scroll in this one. Weird. All right. Well, I'll deal with that. But in any event, we are sponsored by SuperDraft today. So we will talk about them. We will talk about our 5-game/4-game slate. There is an early one. Adam, I say early. It's 5 o'clock, but it's not really on any of the main slates. DraftKings has it as a showdown. FanDuel and Yahoo do have it as all-day slates, but those are relatively small contests. But it's Dallas at Utah. Willie Cauley-Stein will not be making his debut today, as far as I can tell, unless they make magic happen. But that one looks to be definitely squarely in Utah's favor. What are your thoughts recently here on Luka Doncic? We've missed him on the last couple of weekends/holidays. He hasn't really been on the main slate for us.
Yeah, he played the last game against Portland, but with Porzingis back, his efficiency goes up a bit, his assist percentage goes up, his usage takes a slight hit, but overall it's still the same guy that we've seen all season. Most of the year has been with Porzingis, and he's been one of the best producers per minute.
All right, calling it up here. So let's see. Dallas and Utah not on a back-to-back. We do have a couple teams that are. From the Utah side there, it's been interesting seeing how they've worked in Mike Conley. I think they are now just going to be content to run him, 16 to 20 minutes a game, probably off the bench or in that secondary rotation, and then just getting him in there in high or leverage situations. The intriguing thing about Utah, as we talk about often, is damn, they run their starters into the fourth quarter. The other game, I noticed Rudy Gobert, I can't remember, was it against Golden State? They ran Rudy Gobert like 32 minutes or something crazy like that. It was well above and beyond what I thought would happen, and that was actually on the road. What do you like in particular here in the showdown format from Golden State? Anything you want to highlight before we get into our main stuff?
From Utah?
Oh, sorry, Utah. God. Again, water. Apparently there's no caffeine in water. That's a problem.
Yeah, and I don't know. Utah's Utah. Their starters play a lot of minutes. Conley played 18 minutes last game. Clarkson played 26. It's always tough to analyze a game that isn't on a slate.
Yeah. No. I'm just buying time here. Just buying time. All right. Now, we're on the main slate. 4-gamer. You will get live before lock today with Fast Eddie Fear. That is going to be at 6 o'clock. There's rumors that we're going to be doing a Pro Bowl show with some strategy for tomorrow. That one's going to not be live before lock. It'll come out mid-morning, it sounds like. But that is a fun one. So if you have not yet signed up to any of the Pro Bowl games, we will have some strategy for you. The interesting thing about NFL Pro Bowl is it's basically impossible to do projections, but things are very, very different. You have to play a tight end on every play if you're when you're on offense. Their defense can't blitz. The running backs, I think the most yards a running back has had in the last 3 years is like 35 rushing yards. The quarterbacks, they don't run either. Defenses tend to get interceptions. It's more of a passing game. And then fullbacks have been getting touchdowns recently. There's your quick strategy, but it's a little bit of fun. I would recommend jumping into that for some low dollar fun on Sunday, because it's our second to last chance to play NFL until next season. All right, Adam, we've got our 4-gamer here, very relatively condensed slate. Starting off here at 7 with Detroit hosting Brooklyn. We then move into the 8 o'clock hour where we have Oklahoma City at Minnesota. Both those teams are on a back-to-back. Chicago at Cleveland. Let's see. Chicago, I believe, is on the back-to-back. And then you've got the Lakers at Philly as the nightcap there, the featured nationally televised game. Some injury news that we want to consider. We've got Anthony Davis listed as questionable. He's dealing with that bruised glute. I suspect he is going to play. You've got Kyle Kuzma, who has a sprained ankle. He is a game time decision, but probable. You've got Rajon Rondo, had that finger issue. And then you've got JaVale McGee, who is dealing with an illness and did not play in the last game. Those are the key guys that are dinged up for the night game. You've got Andre Drummond dealing with a lacerated lip. He got bonked, had to get some stitches, has missed the last 2 games. No truth to the avocado rumors, but it is something we'll want to keep an eye on. Bruce Brown dealing with the sore thumb. And then DeAndre Jordan has missed a couple games there, along with Tony Snell, who was out last night. Kind of a lot of moving parts there with both Brooklyn and Detroit. Let's start off there since they are the first game. Adam, we do have a 227 over-under. Right now, that is the highest of the 4 games that we have today. You've got Brooklyn favored by a bucket on the road here. Let's start off with the visiting Nets. How are you feeling about Kyrie Irving?
Yeah, it seems like a pretty good spot for Kyrie. Obviously, he disappointed at high ownership his last time out against the Lakers, but the Lakers are a much better defensive team than Detroit is. Kyrie's salary has come up, but you're seeing, around 33, 34 minutes at least in competitive games from him. He obviously lost about 4 minutes against the Lakers last time, or he would have played more than those 33 or 34. But since coming back, he has a 28.4% usage rate. That's mildly concerning to me since earlier in the year, he was up around 32 or 33%. And it does make some sense since you have a healthy Karis LeVert now. So basically all of Kyrie's minutes are coming with at least one of Spencer Dinwiddie or Karis LeVert on the floor. And Irving is still the guy in those situations. But when you have like a Karis LeVert out there instead of, more minutes for like a Garrett Temple or a Rodions Kurucs or something like that, it does make a difference to the usage. But that being said, still priced, I think, appropriately for his current role. If he does have a little bit of a diminished, usage, I think that he still looks like a good option, even if the usage is down a little bit.
All right, we've got I've got my nemesis in chat, XX Hustle XX. He's killing me in head-to-heads. Apparently he knows what I'm going to be playing. Oh, because the Cash Building Blocks article. So you want to check that out. And then he took down the Fred Van Elite contest. Didn't have the Osmo avatar. So no go there.
Did you just promote your Cash article by saying that someone is reading it and then beating you in Cash?
Yes.
Okay.
I did. No, I'm saying I generally, well, to finish that thought, and thank you, let's delve into it a little deeper. Generally, whoever I end up writing as my main guy, I try to pick someone. Now, today's a little trickier. Basically, I haven't written it yet, but LeBron at the top, probably play Thaddeus Young, and then there's going to be potential value there. Your secondary piece you want to try to get to is probably Karl Anthony Towns. All right, there we go. Show done for today. But you've got some fun in that. I try to make it so it's a piece that will be good throughout the day. So I try to hit one key guy that's probably going to be a mainstay, and I try not to write up the same top end guys every day. Then I try to write up a good value play that should hold their value throughout the day, because that's one thing that we do see a lot, especially reminding us again with the craziness we had on Wednesday night. Even last night, it just seemed like there was just news after news after news that kept changing things around. You tend to forget what was kind of good initial value, and there's not always good value. There's kind of good value to start out with, and then there's placeholder value, meaning if anything comes along better, get that guy out, put in the better player. But a lot of times people will start chasing whatever the next news hit is and forget about some of what is a solid good play. I'm sure you've seen that a lot. How do you combat that? Or I mean, I know you look a ton at you follow the ownership percentages a lot, which is great because we have those here at Osmo. But I know you try to leverage opposite of what the field is doing in certain spots. But have you seen countless times, I'm sure, where people just move off what is still a good play just because something new has come out.
Yeah, that was always people talk about still preferring to hand build. That was always one of the biggest obstacles for me when I was hand building as opposed to automating, my lineups and using Fantasy Cruncher and projections and stuff. Was when if you're just hand building and not like optimizing using projections, like it's always tough to play that game of like, well, I like this guy, but now I have this news. What do I do? That was always something I struggled with, and I'm sure it's normal. Like people that still hand build struggle with that. So there are a lot of situations where you do want to keep in mind that, and obviously it's why using projections and actually having a projected number in front of you helps. You mentioned Thaddeus Young, and I think that's a good example because he was, so he's someone that is going to be there as value. Let's say he's projected for 24 points, and then there's value. There's news at 6:30. It's really easy to look and be able to remind yourself if you're actually looking at a number, being like, okay, this guy's at 25, Thad Young's at 24. So like Thad Young is still good. Don't like forget about him.
Yeah, and Gordon Hayward, another guy that flashed for a moment and then fell back down as other good stuff came out on those big slates. There's just a lot of tricky stuff. So I try to write up someone, and then I put in if things have changed. So like today, I'll write up Thaddeus Young, talk about his increased responsibility. With Wendell Carter Jr. out, with Lauri Markkanen out, how that's going to change his role, what they may or may not be doing with closing lineups, because I guess super duper small-ish lineup there with him at the pivot, because do you really want it to be Luke Cornett? Is it going to be Chad Hutchison, etc.? I hope not. Felicio, etc. A bit of a mess. So we'll try to give you a little tidbit that you can carry on for the next couple of weeks, and then we usually talk about a risky value. So the risky value generally means, it doesn't mean they're a bad play, but it just shows how they could fall off the shelf. So I've written up for Detroit, Christian Wood has been in there, Svi Mikhailiuk has been in there, etc. It just says that, hey, yeah, when they're super duper cheap, there's less margin for error, but there is margin for error. And especially when those guys get to be 30, 40% owned, depending on slate size, etc., sometimes there is merit in going the other way. Usually that's a little bit more of a tournament bent. But those articles are good just to give people some learning points. It's a quick read. It takes me about 2 hours to write it, but again, research it to find these items with shelf life that will go on. But it's well worth taking a peek at. Do want to remind everybody that we are sponsored by SuperDraft today. So we'll talk a little bit about their site. Very interesting. You don't have to worry about salary cap. How do they do that? Well, they've got multipliers for each player. So you do have to fill out the roster requirement, but you can, as long as you're meeting the roster requirement, literally play everybody you want. If you want, last night, if you wanted to do Westbrook and Harden and Karl Anthony Towns and everybody at the top, you can do that. Why wouldn't everybody do that? Well, the multiplier. So really, really good players tend to have a 1 or a 1.1 multiplier versus their fantasy production. Players that are lesser skilled, maybe in different responsibilities, roles, etc., will have a 1.4, 1.6, and then even 2.0 for some of the guys that are getting spot duties. So you want to check that out. And basically, they try to design the multiplier so everybody projects for about the same raw total, give or take probably 5 or 10% in there. And then you have to determine what is good or bad for that day based upon the matchups and stuff. So they also have NFL going on right now, single game contest. They have their Super Bowl contest posted. They do have late swap, and it is supported by Fantasy Cruncher as well. And we here at Awesemo have the projections for you, which I believe should be free today. But it does take into account the multiplier and shows you how it works. So if you have not yet signed up, go to superdraft.io. And when you make your first deposit, if you put in $100, use the promo code Awesemo, they will immediately give you $20 in super cash, which comes out into your contest first for your entry fees. So not a bad deal there. All right, back to today's slate. So what are we doing here with Jared Allen? Recency bias. He sucks. Never again, Adam. But do we want to play him because we only have 8 teams in our player pool?
So he's in part dependent on a lot of news in this game, really, because you have a questionable DeAndre Jordan, you have a questionable Nick Claxton. Obviously, both of those guys missed against the Lakers, and Jared Allen sucked, but he still played 30 minutes, and he still lost time to the blowout as well. So I think that the minutes are really secure if both of those guys miss. And if Andre Drummond is in, there's even more of a necessity for Jared Allen because if, let's say, Jordan and Claxton are out and Drummond's in, you are going to want Allen playing every minute that Drummond plays if you can make that happen. So the minutes should be there. He does take a bit of a hit with Kyrie Irving on the floor, and all of his minutes now basically are coming alongside Kyrie. The usage goes down from close to 16% overall this year to about 14%. And so that's a little bit of a hit, but he is still fairly priced. And if both of the backups are out, I think that he looks like a pretty good option. If one of them is in, I would still project 30 to 31 minutes, which would make him a pretty neutral play at 6K on DraftKings. He is only center eligible, which makes it tougher since you do have Drummond potentially, you have Towns, you have one of Adams or Noel for OKC. So the opportunity cost is a little bit higher, but if one of them's in, I'd say he's like a neutral play. If one of them's out, you can give him a couple extra minutes. He starts to look a little bit better.
All right.
Or if they're both out, sorry.
Get my filters going here. So looking at the rest of Brooklyn, because again, we're looking a little bit thin. Taurean Prince, at some point the music's going to stop and he's not going to have a chair, Adam, but he's put together a couple nice games. We're seeing Karis LeVert increasing his minutes after the long injury layoff there. It seems to be at the expense of Joe Harris. At their reasonable price tags, literally across the industry, can we trust Taurean Prince and Karis LeVert on today's slate as potential core plays? Fringe core plays?
I like LeVert still. Prince is okay. He should play, 30, 31 minutes. He's pretty cheap. So I don't have an issue with that either. But LeVert was someone I was high on last game. He played well, but he only played about 23 minutes. But he was hurt pretty badly by the way the fourth quarter in that game went. He subbed out with 8.5 minutes to go, which is pretty close to where he subbed out in the second quarter as well. In the second quarter, he closed over Spencer Dinwiddie. I would expect that more often than not, he closes over Joe Harris. But either way, LeVert's someone that I expect to be in the closing lineup in competitive games. So I think he lost around 4 minutes against the Lakers, which means you can give him 26, 27 minutes here. And he's between a 0.9 and a 1 fantasy point per minute player. It's a favorable matchup against Detroit, and he's still really cheap. So I do like going to LeVert, especially if he's going to be low owned like he was last time. It seems like people are kind of not paying attention to him, and he's actually a good basketball player and a high usage guy, even a 28% usage rate since Kyrie came back. So I do think that LeVert's pretty interesting.
All right, now I've got to look it up. I was trying to remember where he went to college.
LeVert?
Yeah, Michigan. I thought it was Michigan, and then I started second guessing myself with Illinois, and I'm like,
I thought it was Kentucky.
No, I'm looking at his ESPN player.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I just thought it was Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, see, there you go. I didn't know. We didn't know. Let's see here. How many years did he play in college? And this is very exciting, so we'll be done with this shortly. Oh, 4-year player at Michigan. Wow. I did not realize that. Injuries both his junior and senior year. Played 18 and 15 games in those, but interesting there. Okay.
I very much thought he was one and done from Kentucky, so I was very wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts by the time we try to remember all the baseball players, all the NBA players.
Now I want to know who I'm confusing him with.
I got no idea.
I mean, it could be anybody. There's a million guys from Kentucky, but
yes, it is not Willie Cauley-Stein, DeMarcus Cousins, or John Wall. That I know you're not confusing him with. All right, we'll switch to the other side here. Again, Andre Drummond out with, I don't know, lip laceration, which again, we make fun of these guys for missing games, etc. As we've seen time and time again, and it's been shown that 82 games is a lot in the regular season, and for a variety of reasons, these guys getting rest, breaks, etc., be it load management, now injury management, to flu, to illness, to whatever it is, a few games off here and there are okay. From a DFS perspective, it helps us out if that they do a better job, particularly this season, but they started doing it last year as well with giving us the news, the information, etc. So we haven't been. It's been a while, knock on wood, that we have been caught off guard with someone just being out. Is there a lot of moving parts up till lock? Yes. If there's a lot of 8 o'clock games, are we getting that, at 7:02, 7:03? Yes, but it's still an hour before their tip off, with the kind of the guidance from the NBA that you're supposed to announce things 30 minutes before your game starts, etc. But it helps us out. So I haven't been as angered this year as I have been in years past. So that's been helpful. But we don't know. Let's just operate under the assumption that Drummond is going to be back. But I want to start off here with Derrick Rose. So Rose has started the last 5 games. He has played 28, 26, 34, 30, and then last night he played 33 minutes. In those games. This will be his 5th back-to-back of the season. Kind of hard to really infer what could happen, but in those back-to-backs, the previous 4, he's been getting about 26 minutes. He wants to play more minutes. Again, we've seen him throughout his career just be injury prone. So I think that keeping him close to 30 minutes is probably best for all parties involved here. But what do you like or not like about Derrick Rose? Price coming up here, but fringe all-star candidate, or all-star game candidate at this point. Did they announce those? Let me go look at that.
They announced the starters. I'm not sure if they announced the teams.
Okay, I want to see if there's more about that. But I know I've read a couple pieces talking about his potential in that, and then you remember that there's about 50 guys that probably just miss every year. But what do you like here with Derrick Rose? Any concern that it's a back-to-back, tougher matchup, etc.? Price coming up.
Not really. I think so. So as far as the back-to-back goes, Rose hasn't played a back-to-back since January 4th and 5th. At that time, he was still playing less than 30 minutes a game. He played 28 minutes in the first game. He played 29 in the second game. So you didn't see any sort of restriction there. I have him in for 32 minutes here. And he benefits a bit in terms of usage if Andre Drummond's out. But even if Drummond's in, I think that Rose is still a relatively appealing option. He's got a 31.7% usage rate alongside Drummond without Blake this year. 31.8% assist percentage is obviously good as well. So either way, I think Rose is a viable option. I think that he's a stronger option if Drummond sits, though.
All right. Yes, so they did announce the starters just for fun. It's for the Eastern Conference, it's Trae Young, Kemba Walker, Pascal Siakam, Giannis, and Embiid. For the Western Conference, it's James, Mr. Disappointment, Harden, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, and Davis. They will not announce the rest of the pool until the 30th. So we still have 5 days of speculation there. And then Captain LeBron and Giannis will be choosing how the rest of those players shake out once the pool is created. All right. Branching out from here, we've seen somewhat of a trickle-down effect with Drummond being out. Christian Wood, a little bit scary there in the first half, but finished strong. You've got Reggie Jackson back in the mix. That's helped out with Bruce Brown and Tony Snell being out. You've got Markieff Morris continually disappointing. And then Langston Galloway, cheap guy, is getting rotation minutes. He's probably some of that, quote, placeholder value today in that you can put him in, but as soon as something better comes along, get him out of your lineup. What do you want to do with the remainder here of the Pistons?
Yeah, and as far as Galloway goes, you definitely want to keep an eye on Tony Snell and Bruce Brown news. If they're both out, you should get 30-plus minutes from Galloway. If one of them's back, those minutes can disappear pretty quickly, and he's not a very good per-minute producer. So as soon as he starts losing minutes, it starts to become pretty dicey. But if they're both out at 3,600, he's, like you said, a guy where I'll be very happy when I can get him out of my lineup. But if no other value opens up, then he'll end up being in a good amount. But if Drummond's back, obviously the front court becomes a mess. You had Sekou Doumbouya get the start over Markieff Morris yesterday. Morris still played more minutes. I have them projected for a 24-24 split right now. But the price tag has come up on Morris to where I'm not really interested there. And if Drummond's playing, you're expecting around 15 minutes for Christian Wood, which would take him out of play too. So if Drummond's out, we kind of know what to do at this point, because we've seen 2 games in a row of Thon McCurry and Christian Wood splitting minutes at the 5, Morris and Sekou splitting minutes at the 4. But if Drummond's in, it takes a lot of that value away, or all of that value away.
All right. Anything else from this game? And chat's going to have fun, because in a moment they're going to see our marketing plan on the screen there, because I'm sharing my screen. Hey, you guys know what reads I'm going to be doing here in just a moment. Anything else from this game?
No.
All right, on to our next game here. Now I'm showing things that I don't want to show. Let's close some of those windows. Close that file. Go back to this page, and there we go. So 2 8 o'clock games. We have OKC and Minnesota, both teams on a back-to-back. Steven Adams dealing with an ankle injury. He warmed up and by all accounts looked okay, but sat out that game against Atlanta. That gave Noel a little bit of chance to shine there. I suspect Adams is going to be back. And a little bit fresh from having a couple days off. The last 2 times that Karl-Anthony Towns and Adams have squared off, Karl-Anthony Towns has dominated. But if you start looking back, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, Adams has done a decent job of at least containing him somewhat. Starting off with the visitors here for OKC, what do you like amongst these guys? Any Chris Paul minutes concerns there? He seems to be coming on the short side of 30 recently.
No, I mean, he played 28 yesterday in a blowout, 29 the game before that. That was a game where, let me see if anything weird happened in that game. He just kind of didn't play a ton of minutes there. But prior to that, you had 33, 27 in a non-competitive game, 34, 34. I generally project him for 31, 32 minutes, and I'm fine doing that again. He's been really good. He started out the season really slowly, but for the season now, he's up to about 1.09 fantasy points per minute. He's still affordably priced. It's a pace-up spot against Minnesota, and their defense isn't particularly good either. So I think Paul is a pretty interesting option.
All right. Branching out from there, I do like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Price is coming up, so not quite as easy of a play. You got Danilo Gallinari, who was raining down the threes last night. He had missed a game or two here and there for a variety of injuries, but by all accounts should be playing tonight. And then you've got Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench. Had a nice game against his former squad last night. Good matchup for all of them, in my opinion, going against Minnesota. As you look to the secondary plays here on the Thunder, does anybody stand out in particular?
I think Gallinari is actually my top guy out of the group just because he's a little bit cheaper than Paul. He's a forward, and normally we have a little bit more trouble filling out that position than we do the point guard spots. And Gallinari for the season's averaged a little over a fantasy point per minute. He's generally going to play around 32 minutes, but he contributes enough in all categories. Like, he's not a great rebounding guy. He's not a great assist guy, but he, for the season, has a 24.5% usage rate and double-digit rebounding and assist percentages. So, he does enough there where it kind of helps to fill out the stat sheet.
All right, Gallinari, 1.5 multiplier over there on SuperDraft, sponsor of the show today. That is a nice one. Reminder, they have kind of a hybrid scoring system, so you don't really want to take the FanDuel, aka I still can't believe they got to be the gold standard for the NBA's official scoring, but they do have 3 points for steals and blocks. They do have double-double and triple-double bonuses, and they also have a half-point bonus for three-pointers. So basically, they've taken all of the fun little bonuses that are on the various sites, incorporated them into one there on SuperDraft. So if you are playing, I've noticed the 3 main projection sites that are free or very discounted do not have SuperDraft projections, but we've got them here at Osmo. So definitely check those out with us. Well worth it because we incorporate all those rules plus the multiplier in there. But Gallinari coming in at a 1.5 multiplier, pretty decent in this one. Anything else here from the Thunder?
No, I don't think so.
All right, Minnesota. Question marks. I like at $13. I think that Shabazz Napier is a very good play over there on Yahoo. Karl-Anthony Towns seems to be back and, doing well after his little month off. He's played 5 games in a row. He did play a back-to-back his first 2 games after returning from his month-long layoff. Played 28 and 27 minutes in those. Played just 27 minutes last night. I think we can probably pencil him in for, 32 minutes or so today? In this
I'll
matchup?
go 34, 35.
Okay. So is he up there with LeBron as probably your best play today?
Yeah, and so you mentioned the minutes. Last night he played 28 minutes. He was in foul trouble all game. He picked up 2 fouls in the first 4 minutes and 45 seconds, picked up his third foul in the second quarter. So he lost a lot of time in the first half. We'd seen him play 35 minutes 3 games ago now. Then he was in foul trouble, played 31 minutes, was in foul trouble, played 28. I don't think he's on any sort of minutes restriction at this point. It's just a game flow thing where he's losing minutes to fouls. So I think that barring foul trouble, he gets back to that 34, 35 minute range. And the salary is affordable. He's only 10K. He's a 1.5 fantasy point per minute guy. It is a tough matchup against a quality OKC defense and Steven Adams in particular. But Towns just does so many things well on the floor, whether it's rebounding, facilitating, scoring, and not necessarily just at the rim, that I'm not too concerned about the matchup. So I think the Towns, his price tag is probably at one of the cheapest points that we'll see for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and if you look at his just the usage in those 5 games since he's been back, 39 last night, 38 the one before, and his first game back was 40. Those are actually his top 3 usage of the season.
Yeah, I saw a stat from one of the Timberwolves beat writers. I don't remember the exact numbers, but the gist of it was that since coming back from his injury, Towns has played something like 136 minutes and scored something like 125 points.
Very nice. We do like to see that from a fantasy perspective there. Branching out from him, you've got Andrew Wiggins, who was outstanding last night. I had thought it would be more of an impact there from Tucker, etc., somebody guarding him, but games have changed so much over the last 3 seasons. But his last 3 seasons, he's been kind of against Houston, and we know that their better defenders have been there the whole time, but that didn't seem to matter very much last night as he put down 28 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, and a steal. Hit that 40 fantasy point plateau. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game losing streak right now for Minnesota. Not good at all. What do you want to do here with Wiggins tonight?
He is he's affordably priced. He's still only
$7K on DK.
Yeah, same price as yesterday when he looked pretty good. For the season, he's been better with Towns out there. Obviously, if Towns is going to have a 38% usage rate, it's going to affect Wiggins negatively, but he has been a lot more efficient with Towns on the floor. For the season, if you look at his on-off numbers, the minutes are comparable. The usage rate is about the same. The assist percentage is about the same, but he goes from being about a 0.99 fantasy point per minute guy to about 1.12 DraftKings points per minute because the efficiency goes up. His effective field goal percentage increases by about 7 points. So I do think that at this price point, he's a reasonable option. I do think that Towns at 10K is more appealing to me than Wiggins at 7K, but I think we should start seeing a more productive Wiggins now that Towns is back.
All right. We do have free rankings today from Alex Osmo Baker himself. That's both value and a point grade there, so you can check those out. If you go to the Osmo homepage, go to NBA and hover over it, you get the pop-up menu, and then you get Osmo's NBA rankings pop up. I'll drop the link here in chat. Those will be updated in a little bit, but save that link and you can check out where things are later today. Okay, heading on to...
Hey, one other thing from Minnesota is that Josh Okogie got the start over Jarrett Culver last night, played 32 minutes, had a really good game, which is not something Josh Okogie normally does. He's in that Langston Galloway territory where he's only 3,700 on DraftKings. If you give him 30 minutes, he's a pretty good point per dollar option. He's not a really high upside guy, so I would prefer to play someone better, but he's fine.
So looking at Minnesota, really, are you just going 5 deep on these, and with Okogie getting the nod just for pricing over Culver, or would Culver still make your player pool today since there's just 8 teams?
I mean, everybody makes my player pool, but Jarrett Culver only played 18 minutes last night, so that's pretty concerning.
So he's unlikely to grace your lineups.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, he basically had No, he had like 1 or 2 minutes of overlap with Okogie. Okogie played 32. Culver played 17.8.
All right, Heyo, we're at the halfway point here. 2 down, 2 to go. You've got a chance to hit that thumbs up button over there. Give us a little love on the YouTube. Helps us out with the algorithms and recommended show placement. So please hit that thumbs up button. Also want to remind everybody, if you go to Awesemo NFL on Twitter, follow it. We're doing some giveaways there, and if we can get to 5,000 Twitter followers by the Super Bowl, we will be giving away our biggest promotion, or our biggest gift yet. If you want to sign up for a short time, we're using the promo code LIV in honor of Super Bowl 54, but that gives you a 1-month pass for just $54. That's not even $2 a day. So check that out. Well worth it. I highly recommend it. All right, Adam, on to the back half here. We've got Chicago at Cleveland. Woohoo! This looks like a great game. Not really. I think I will hide that channel in my favorites and not be watching it via the free NBA League Pass that is available tonight. I don't even really know what to do here. Let's start off with the Chicago side. God, what a lost season. That means their coach is probably going to stick around yet again with the boy in there. You've got Thaddeus Young all of a sudden in a prominent role. You have, we're going to have to mention Kobe White for things more than his magnificent hair. You've got Zach Attack priced up high, literally going to be doing everything for the team at this point. You have Tomas Satoransky, who's been kind of disappointed, but he's been thrust into more of a role. And then you got Chandler Hutchison. These guys, I don't feel good about any of them outside of Thaddeus Young. And the only reason I feel good about him is they didn't catch up on his pricing yet for his new role. He is the most projected to be the most owned player thus far tonight. Start us off here with Thaddy Daddy.
Yeah, and I think he should be, at least as of right now. His salary actually dropped from yesterday, from 4,600 to 4,400. DraftKings has done a really good job lately of quickly increasing pricing, but they didn't get to this one, so he just stands out as a glaring value here. And it's not he's not really even the kind of guy where you just like grin and bear it, because he is a productive player. He should get 0.8 to 0.9 fantasy points per minute. He should play around 30 minutes. He got some minutes at the 5 yesterday as well, which is appealing. So I don't really have concerns about that. He's young. Like, I'm fine just playing a bunch of him at that salary. Beyond that, it gets really tough. I mean, Boylan played 11 guys in his rotation yesterday. Now that Fizdale's out of the league, Boylan is quickly becoming my least favorite coach for DFS. But it's a mess. Like, on one hand, you have pretty good pricing on the Chicago guys, and with it being a 4-game slate in tournaments, that is something you can take advantage of, because median projections are going to be relatively low on these players, because we can't expect more than 25 or 26 minutes for someone like Satoransky. You can't really project more than like 24, 25 minutes for Kobe White, but if they're playing well, they easily can get more, and they're all really cheap. So assuming the ownership is pretty low, that's the kind of thing you can take advantage of. You just want to make sure that you're using rules to, like, for example, you wouldn't want more than 2 of Satoransky, Kobe White, or Chris Dunn in your lineup, most likely. But you can try and just, hope you hit on the guy that has the big game. The center rotation's a mess as well. 2 games ago, you got Cristiano Felicio starting the second half. Yesterday, Luke Cornett went back to the starting lineup, but he only played 17 minutes while Felicio played 25. So I have really no idea what to make of that either. It's probably just a matter of who's playing well at the time. I think you could see Felicio get the start here to deal with Tristan Thompson. Cornett is tall, but more of an outside presence than anything. So that wouldn't surprise me, and that would potentially give you an okay value, but his salary is up to 4,100, so it wouldn't be anything I'm too excited about.
Remember when we were playing Arcidiacono last year for value? That doesn't.
I do not remember doing that.
Was it 2 years ago? All I remember is
I remember. No, I think I remember him doing well and me not playing him. And
okay, there we are. All I can remember is you saying Arcidiacono.
Oh yeah, that was rough.
And now we've got that one down right there with Giannis Antetokounmpo. But it was just kind of amusing. Yeah, Arcidiacono, Denzel Valentine, No, thank you.
I did obviously skip over Zach LaVine when I was complaining about Boylan's rotations. LaVine's minutes are secure. He's playing 35, 36 minutes in competitive games. Played 33 last night. Over the last month, he has about a 33% usage rate. For the season without Markkanen, it's about 34%. So he's certainly a guy that he's certainly a high upside play. The problem you run into is just that his salary is really expensive.
Yeah. Chandler Hutchinson, 12 steals in his last 6 games? That feels more or less unsustainable. But he is relatively cheap. Last guy to mention there. Any thoughts, good or bad, or just kind of a neutral play?
On Hutchison?
Yeah.
Nothing.
All right. On to the Cleveland side here. This one is interesting. We'll have to see what's up with Tristan Thompson. Had a dud of a game in his last couple has been a little disappointing. Larry Nance lucked into some minutes for whatever reason. They hate him in Cleveland, but be careful chasing that box score. Let's start off with Thompson here. So he got tossed 4 games ago, but he has scored less than 18 fantasy points in 3 of his last 5. Played less than 25 minutes in each of those. Not really one, obviously he got tossed, but the fouls haven't really been an issue. He's just been in a major funk after laying down his best 4-game stretch of the season at the beginning of the month here. Any thoughts here on Tristan Thompson against a team that just is not going to be able to get rebounds?
Yeah, it's pretty concerning where how the minutes have gone. That game against Washington, for example, was a game where he should have done well. He only played 13 minutes in the first half. He had, I think, 1 rebound and 0 offensive rebounds. And then in the second half, you had Larry Nance close the game over him. So Nance being there does make it where if Thompson's not playing well, the Cavs can really quickly just go to Larry Nance. You have John Henson back also, who played about 13 backup center minutes, but then you had Nance closing at alongside Kevin Love and Chatty, Sexton, and Garland. So I think it's safe to say that his minutes are not secure. I think that he still has the potential to get like 32 minutes if he's playing well, in which case he probably it's kind of like the guys we were talking about on Chicago, where the median projection at this point for Tristan Thompson's minutes is lower than it has been recently, but the price tag has really come down. He's only 5,900 on DraftKings. If Tristan Thompson is playing up to the level he's capable of playing at, and he's out there grabbing rebounds, he's most likely going to play his 32 minutes, in which case you're getting 32 by definition productive minutes from Thompson at 5,900. So it's not someone I'd want to count on in cash games. It is someone that if he's going to be low owned in tournaments, I think is an interesting option.
All right. Let's see. Kevin Love. I believe that Monday and Tuesday is the next back-to-back here, so we should not have an issue with any sort of minutes or resting, etc. Trade deadline continues to grow closer. But Kevin Love at 7,900 is a very appealing price point there on DraftKings. How do you feel about him? And then we'll hit on the backcourt.
Yeah, he's my top guy from Cleveland. The price tag just isn't really moving, and he's playing a bunch of minutes. You could make the same argument for Love, kind of, that you are for Thompson as far as Larry Nance goes, where if, let's say, Thompson's playing really well and Nance is playing well and Love is not, Nance could take minutes from Love. So there is a little bit more risk to his minutes now, just based on the construction of the roster, than there has been in a lot of games recently. But they're also still playing Love 33, 34 minutes a night, and more often than not, he's going to get those minutes. So I'm still comfortable projecting 33, 34 minutes for Love, and at his salary, he does look like the top option for me from Cleveland.
All right, fun with the backcourt here. We'll include Cedi Osman as part of the backcourt, but Winston Garland, solid rookie season. What is he, about a point?
Who?
Damn it, I did it again. I keep saying his dad. Winston Garland. Darius Garland. Oh boy, Darius Garland. Winston Garland, first player I ever traded for in fantasy basketball. Yeah, which is it's funny. Back when we used to take the stats out of USA Today and do them by hand, until I built a little Excel spreadsheet for us. Yes, that was Excel version 2.0, and I think that was probably the year you were born that we were doing that, Adam. So been doing fantasy basketball for a long time. I believe this is season 30 for me. 3-0. Wow. Been a long time. But back here to Darius. Garland, Colin Sexton. You've got Shetty Osman. Anybody standing out there? Garland getting the minutes, not overly productive with them. Not the easiest of matchups going against Chris Dunn and company here.
Yeah, it's not, and Chetty isn't really that productive. Colin Sexton's price tags come up even more. Not as appealing a matchup as it was against the Wizards. So had tons of him in that game. Don't think I'll get to a whole lot of him here. Darius Garland at 5K is fine, but if if you're able to kind of look across positions, like I would rather take a shot on like a Karis LeVert or a Taurean Prince.
All right. Let's hit the last game of the night, and we will get on out of here. Lakers at Philly. I am speculating that Davis should play. This is it's an 8:30 game here. It is the crown jewel of the nationally televised games tonight. I still think even if Davis plays, LeBron is contesting there to be one of the best plays tonight. Reasonable price tag. We know the ball is going to be in his hands a ton, especially in this matchup here. I'm not if it doesn't matter to me what's happening with Kuzma. I suspect he will play, but at 4,400, if he plays, he's someone that'll make the player pool on DK just because he's cheap. Same thing with Rondo at 4K. Matisse Thybulle, I prefer over there on Yahoo, where you get 3 points per block in steal, which is mostly what he does, and he is minimum priced over there. What do you like here from the Lakers side of things?
Pretty much the same as always, LeBron and Davis. Rondo at 4K is fine as well. If McGee is out, I would expect a little bit more run for Rondo. That wasn't really the case last game. He got some blowout run, but it was actually kind of disappointing that he only played 7 first half minutes in that one. He finished the game at 23 minutes, but I think that, still at 4K, if you're going to get around 20 minutes from Rondo, he at least has some upside there. Also a guy where, like, if people are going to play Langston Galloway at 3,600 and Josh Okogie at 3,700, Rondo's a guy that you can pivot to at 4K and kind of just hope the variance works in your favor. But it's pretty much always the LeBron and Anthony Davis for me, and then nothing else really stands out. LeBron's always the priority just because he's a bit more productive than Davis, and he's playing more minutes right now. Davis played 27 minutes against Brooklyn. He played 30 the game before that. So still tough for me to confidently give Davis his full run, but he is down to 9,300 on DraftKings, which starts to make him appealing even if he gets like 33 minutes.
Dwight Howard, just doing a little game log surfing, has been really, really good. Or especially for his price point. He has played, let's say, what is this, about 10 games? He's averaging, I'm eyeballing it here, about 25 minutes, probably about 9 points and 11 rebounds. That's pretty solid, Adam. So I think he's someone that, regardless of what happens with JaVale McGee's status, I'm pretty good here with Dwight Howard. They kind of split those center minutes, but I'm okay with it. I like Howard. I'm thinking Howard gets 24 minutes or so tonight. What is your baseline for him?
If McGee is in, I would expect around 24, 25 for Howard. Okay. If McGee's out, we only saw 23 last game, but that was a game that got out of hand in the Lakers' favor. So potentially you missed out on Howard coming back in the fourth. I think that if McGee's out, you can go like 28 to 30.
Let's see. Let me see. Dwight Howard. Let's see. 34. Interesting. Man, that was a lost season for the Wizards last year when he was on there. And hey, shout out for that whole Reddit thing to not have cropped up this season. I'm still waiting for that one to come back, Adam. Do you think LeBron's people have helped him quash that?
Possible.
We'll see. Again, personal life, do whatever you want to do. That's fine. Nothing illegal there. But very interesting. All right, on to our last team, last game. You've got Philadelphia. No Joel Embiid. In my opinion, there are 5 playable guys in this one. Simmons, Horford, Harris, reluctantly Furkan Korkmaz, because there are 8 teams in our player pool, and then I'm okay with Matisse Thybulle prefer him on FanDuel, DraftKings, or FanDuel and Yahoo. That's it. No Kyle O'Quinn, no James Ennis, no Mike Scott. What do you have here from the start off with the? How deep would you go from Philadelphia? Is it really just those 5 guys?
I don't even know if I would say 5. Like the Thibel's more appealing on sites like Yahoo and FanDuel because of the scoring, but 4,600 on DraftKings, like I'm good there. I don't want to do that. Korkmaz should get more run with Richardson out. He's been preemptively priced up on DraftKings as well, though. So 4,500 for Korkmaz is pretty mediocre, I think. So really, to me, it just comes down to Simmons, Harris, Horford for the most part. I think because again, I think that Richardson's absence mostly just gives more minutes to very low point per dollar players that are not going to get a lot of touches because they're playing with Ben Simmons and Harris and Horford. So yeah, it's really the big 3. Simmons has been playing incredibly well. 1.2 DraftKings points per minute recently, and his usage has gone up a bit without Embiid, but mostly he's just been really, really aggressive getting to the rim. Really high floor because of his rebounding and assist numbers. I still hate rostering him at an expensive salary, especially if he's going to be pretty high owned against a good Lakers defense. But on a 4-game slate, I'm more willing to do it. He does obviously have a really high ceiling, and he does play huge minutes, so I'm willing to get there.
All right. Just a reminder again, we are sponsored by SuperDraft. They have the multiplier there, so we can say goodbye to salary restrictions and hello to lineup freedom. Use your daily fantasy sports knowledge to draft any player that you want. Build your very own dream team. There are countless lineup possibilities that let you experience the daily fantasy sports, the pure essence of daily fantasy sports the way you want. They have contests for NFL. They do have single game contests. So they have the Super Bowl contest already posted. They've got NBA, NHL, which is on the All-Star break right now. They got PGA in full effect. So definitely check them out. They have the multiplier, no salary cap, unique scoring system in that. Bonuses are everywhere. And speaking of bonuses, if you sign up with the promo code OSMO when you make your first deposit, if it's $100, they will give you $20 in super cash, which is available for immediate use into any contest. Anything else from this game, Adam?
Do keep in mind, again, with it being a 4-game slate, you probably get, or you should get Kyle O'Quinn minutes here. He's only 3,100 on DraftKings. Norvel Pell reached his 45-day maximum, so it should be O'Quinn.
Good call out.
He's a productive enough guy where if he gets 14, 16 minutes here, he could be a pretty decent option at 3,100.
All right. Well, with that, it's a reminder. Hey, if you want to have some fun tonight, 6 o'clock, come back here to this channel and hear Fast Eddie Fear talk about Kyle O'Quinn. It'll be a good time. We've got 4 games, 4 up, 4 down. We'll do it again here in 6 hours. So reminder to hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. Hey, while you're at it, hit that thumbs up there. Helps us out there with Yahoo. Last reminder, best promo we've got going on right now, promo code LIV. That is in honor of Super Bowl 54. You get 1 month of Osmo Premium content for $54. That's pretty solid, not even $2 a day. It's a 30-day subscription. So definitely jump on in there and get with that. Any final thoughts, Adam, before we get on out of here?
Someone in Slack said that Pell's back. I haven't seen that confirmed anywhere, but just keep an eye on that as far as the Kyle O'Quinn. If Pell is in, then don't play O'Quinn.
All right, there we are.
I know he reached his 45 days, so unless they gave him a contract, he shouldn't be back.
That's true, and they may, depending on their bodies, they may have to move somebody around, and because Embiid is hurt, they might not be able to get Pell there just yet, because we saw what happened with the Golden State, where they had to do a little roster fun when they were getting why am I blanking on his name now? Because he's a horrible player. Now that he got pardon?
You're talking about Chris?
No, the guard. How am I blanking?
Oh, McKinney?
No, the guy who converted the roster, or damn it, now I gotta go look.
Yeah, I don't know. They've done it for Damian Lee.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Damian Lee. So he has been horrible since he got his contract. Just awful. I was looking at his box scores this morning because I fell asleep during that game, didn't get to watch all of it. But let's see here. So he had 27 minutes, 2 points, 25 minutes, 6 points, 39 minutes, 4 points. These are NBA points. 33 minutes, 9 points. Prior to that, he had come in 21, 10, 15, 8, 14, whatever. Been putting in some nice numbers. He has not, in his last 5 games, he has not topped his season-long average in points, and he's still been starting. So
the most recent article I could find on Norvell Pell, it says that the initial plan was for them to sign him to the 15-man roster or release him after his 45 days. They asked Brett Brown about why he was active for his 45th day, and he said that as an organization, you judge a Toronto game would be more important than a Lakers game for standing reasons. So I think that had something to do with it. And then now it basically just says that like he's in limbo. So just keep an eye out on that news. If he's out, Kyle O'Quinn gets minutes.
All right. With that, gamers, you can follow Adam at ShipMyMoneyDFS on Twitter. I am at EmacDFS. Follow Osimo NFL on Twitter. We get to 5,000 followers before the Super Bowl. We're doing a mega huge giveaway. Stay tuned. Let's make that happen. With that, gamers,